All right, a little bit of Friday afternoon breaking news for you guys as former Alabama tight end commit Martavious Collins has announced his commitment to Auburn. Joined here with Jason Caldwell to break down the news. Jason, this is something that I think we did a podcast earlier this week, and your quote was, "I would be shocked if he's not in Auburn's class by July 4th." And it didn't even end up lasting a week before he ended up jumping on and committing. Obviously, when he visited for A-Day, we talked to him after the game. He still had a little bit more of his visit left to actually meet with the coaches and everything. And I kind of asked him, I was like, do you think Auburn's going to push pretty hard to get you on board here right now? And he's like, yeah, I think so, but I still think I kind of want to wait until closer to my senior season to commit. Obviously, that push ended up working, as now, as of Friday afternoon, he becomes Auburn's 5th commitment of the class.
Yeah, I got a chance to speak to Martavious, and he said basically when he got back in the car after his visit, looked at his mom, his grandmother, was like, that's where I want to go. He said they were happy, excited, and like we've seen a lot of times, family and environment, all those things are really important to Martavious Collins. This is a guy that I think it hit right away, Christian. He was a guy that was committed to Alabama. They get hired, this new coaching staff. Auburn offers him. He visits the middle of January, and 2 weeks later, he decommits from Alabama. He comes back again for A-Day. It's over with. They made a push, and I thought something really interesting he said is that they didn't give up on him, meaning just because he's committed to Alabama, they didn't just go, oh, well, too bad. We won't get that guy. We'll go on. Nope, they said, look, this is one of the guys we want. We want you to be part of this class. And I think that hit home with him, that Auburn kept fighting. And so all too often the past few years, Auburn did not put up a fight. This is why you put up a fight. This is a guy that is a really, really good football player and a versatile guy. And we talked to Ben Agamawa, and what's the one thing he's talked about at tight end, Christian? The guy that you can move and play everywhere. That's what Martavious Collins can do.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's more of your traditional tight end in the sense that you line him up more as an H-back, more right alongside an offensive tackle, but he can split out a little bit. He can still catch some passes. You can put him out there on a flat. If you put him at H-back, put him out on a flat out of the backfield, something like that. He can do a little bit of everything. And he's certainly more of a blocking emphasis kind of guy. We'll talk about in a little bit about Auburn's plan to take 2 tight ends this class. But Martavious Collins is a fantastic first start. You see it on the graphic here, 6'3", 241. Let me switch pictures here. You can see him there in his Rome jersey. Definitely more of a physical tight end. Jason, I think you were the one that said it on the last podcast again. You compared him more to your John Samuel Shanker than he would be more so to like your Landon King type guy. But Auburn wants one of those guys. So Auburn goes out and gets him and gets a little bit of that recruiting momentum. It keeps building. The spring was obviously big for Auburn. Get all those kids in. In the middle of spring, you pick up a commitment from Fat Burnett. Now, at the end of the spring, you pick up a commitment from Martavious Collins, and you hope that can kind of be a domino effect and maybe pick up 1 or 2 more guys before summer official visit season starts. And we'll kind of have to wait and see there. But Martavious Collins is definitely more that physical guy that can bring a physical edge to that tight end room, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, and look, they're going to want to throw the football, but they want to have a guy that they can move from tight end to H-back. Hey, maybe put him in there at fullback and do little things. He's a guy that does some of those things. And you look at him, and this is a guy that's still just heading into senior year of high school, and he's going to my guess is he's going to be a guy that plays at 255 or so and gives you that ability to do some different things. And that's the key, versatility, not having to substitute on offense, keep the same guys on the field. And this is one of those guys that gives you the chance to do that. As we just mentioned, and if you want to go tempo, you want to go fast, then you got to have those kind of guys that you can put at different spots on the field, continue to run, continue to go, but do different things. And that's what Martavious Collins brings to the table. So really good pickup for Auburn at a position that they want to make a priority and they want to make a focal point of the offense. So this is another one of those guys that can come in and do some of those things.
Yeah. So Auburn picks up its more physical, more traditional tight end. Now the focus turns at the tight end position to who else does Auburn get? We talked with Ben Agamawa earlier in the spring, and he mentioned that he thought it might be a numbers game a little bit in terms of Auburn taking 2 tight ends, but that was the plan and that was the goal. And I think certainly if you read the tea leaves from all of the tight ends that Auburn has brought in for visits and kind of their pitch to them, it's very clear Auburn wants to take 2 tight ends this class and plans to take 2 tight ends this class, with the second guy being more of a versatile hybrid, more of your Landon Kane pass catcher, more of your guy that these guys coached, Evan Ingram, something like that. And we've got a story up at auburnundercover.com touching on some of those names. Landon Thomas, the 5-star Georgia tight end commit. He's your true launch shot of launch shots there. But he's a guy that Auburn and Ben Agamauer just keep working on, just keep trying to get him. And if you get him in for an official visit, maybe there's a chance there. But that's definitely the launch shot of the group. You've got Colton Heinrich, that tight end from South Florida who visited earlier in the spring. Jason, I think you talked with him after his visit, and he had good things to say as well.
I did, yes. Yeah, athletic guy that can really do some things. There's an in-state sleeper too.
Jacory Whitted.
That's it, right? Yep. Absolutely. From Macadori, he has a little Darnell Washington vibe to him. When you look at him, he's a big athletic guy, really raw at tight end. But yeah, there's some of those guys, and it could be somebody like that hey, comes to camp and blows it up, and they go, hey, we're ready right now. I mean, that's the one thing about this staff is they're going to turn over every leaf.
Yeah, Jacory Whitted, that's another name I have on the list. I'm trying to think of the list. I really should have had it right in front of me right now. I had Jacory Whitted. I had Landon Thomas. I had Colton Heinrich. I had, oh, man, I'm blowing it right on the live stage right now, right as we're recording this. Let me pull up the list. Carter Nelson, the tight end from Nebraska who just visited for A-Day, had him, and then Amir Jackson, that tight end from Portal, Georgia. Great town name there. So I had those 5 as guys to really keep an eye on as of right now. Obviously, the spring eval period is about to kick off where coaches can go out on the road and actually see these guys in their high school spring practice. See potentially some guys that they haven't offered yet, but guys that they're keeping an eye on, and maybe some new offers go out as well. So this is very much a preliminary list, and I don't think Auburn's in a hurry necessarily to get another tight end alongside Martavious Collins, but those are some names to keep an eye on. Jason, any kind of final thoughts before we wrap up here on Martavious Collins?
I just think it shows you just the work that the staff's put in. We talked about this week and wrote a story about the flips of, Keldrick Falk, Kayan Lee, Connor Liu, and how much those things paid off. And we've heard for years guys go, and you might as well hang it up on that guy. Those guys are gone. They're going somewhere else. No, this is why you keep doing it, because you show them what's capable, and then you keep recruiting them, and you can do some of these things. And so, I mean, just like we've seen in the past, just the past few months, they've now done it 4 or 5 times, and this is another one of those opportunities to show that, hey, this staff is going to go out and compete, and they're not backing down from anybody, and I think that's a great sign.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be Bama fans that are going to say, "Oh, he was dropped, or he wasn't wanted." Well, either way, however you want to slice it, this is a guy that Auburn wants, so they went out and recruited him hard, and they got him. End of story. That's all that matters in terms of Auburn fans' perspective on this. This is a kid that Auburn wanted. He fits what they're looking for in the offense, and Auburn picks him up. So some good news on Friday afternoon. We told you going into A-Day, probably going to land a commitment. Might not land it that weekend. Might be a little bit until someone actually announces and goes official. And now, a little less than a week later, Martavious Collins goes official, becomes commitment number 5 for Auburn, joining Walker White, Jamarian Fat Burnett, Jaden Lewis, and Amon Lane. Again, you want to talk about that footprint. Auburn has 4 of its 5 guys from this area, 3 guys in the state of Alabama, 4th guy in Georgia, and then obviously Walker White from Arkansas, a little bit outside of the footprint. But it's very clear that Auburn is heavily attacking the state of Georgia, the state of Mississippi. Those seem like Auburn's kind of money states so far in this class. That's where they're attacking pretty heavily. So guys, just figured we'd do a quick little video to kind of break things down on Martavious Collins. If you're watching on YouTube and you enjoyed this and you're not subscribed, definitely do that. It's free. It helps us out a bunch. And we're on the push for 7,000, which is awesome. You guys have been killing it on the subscriptions. And it's It's been a huge plus for us. Also, as well, over at auburnundercover.com right now, if you're not a subscriber, we're running a promo, 50% off an annual sub. And if you're already a monthly sub and you want to upgrade to an annual sub, I believe you can still get access to that deal, that 50% off. So good opportunity for you there as well. If you want to lock in for the next year, which I promise you do, because we're going to have a ton of VIP content. We're going to have a ton of great recruiting stuff. This has already been such a fun class to cover. In my mind, Jason, this has been night and day. Doesn't really do it justice, but it's been a lot of fun. We were just talking about on the phone the other day how, I was saying I'm really excited for this fall because I'm already looking at high school games that I want to go to.
Correct.
Because I know Auburn will be involved with these kids. Last year we didn't have a lot of options on which games we could go to in terms of Auburn targets playing in the game and realistic, interviews and whatever it may be. This fall, we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to have a lot of fun VIP content.
Yeah, and we've already got plans, this spring.
Yes.
Spring games, spring practices, go on the road, and we've already made some plans for the fall to travel, and it's not just around the state of Alabama. So we're going to go see some guys in action, have all that coverage. You're right. No better time to sign up than now. So do that, join us, and lots more. You mentioned night and day. I've described it to people as it's not night and day; it's day and black hole. That's the difference. It's not just night; it's black hole difference. That's what we're witnessing right now.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap it up. Guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and definitely hope you enjoyed the content over at auburnundercover.com. We've had a ton of it for this commitment. Exclusive interview, a bunch of good stuff with Martavious. And, maybe we'll try and get him on the podcast here within the next couple of weeks or something like that. I think that'd be fun. So make sure to stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you guys in the next